Welcome back to Everything Whiskey. I'm Callum.
I'm Sam.
And today we're having a look into the world of infinity blends.
Yes, so what we have here, we'll kind of get into it later. What we have here is our own infinity blend. We're going to taste it a bit in a bit. But first we're going to actually talk about infinity blends as a concept.
Yeah.
You know, there are a few different reasons to have infinity blends and ways to do them.
Yeah.
So what's your interpretation of what an infinity blend is?
It's just an endless bottle of whiskey, or my definition.
Yeah.
It's just an endless bottle of whiskey that you keep adding to with whatever you think will fit into that bottle.
So as in a deliberate addition to create a flavor profile?
Yes.
Yes, that's how you would.
And it was never ending, so you'll pour it if you have a glass, you'll eventually keep refilling, so it never empties out.
Yeah.
The infinity bottle. Hence, infinity.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's probably the most appropriate and that's probably the best way to do it, is to have it in a deliberate sort of way. You're conscious of what you're adding. You're conscious of what kind of flavor profile you're probably going to be contributing to, just for the sake of it tasting good. Another way of doing it, like we have, is just basically every time we've gotten a new bottle, we've had a glass each, and we've added an ounce, a shot, whatever, at least back into the bottle.
This is 100+ blends. It's
So
everything you see on the wall behind us.
Everything you have, plus
Plus a lot more.
plus 2 years prior. So there's about 100 whiskies. There's at least 100. I think it might be a
Probably
tad
pushing
over.
150, I reckon.
I don't know. Yeah, it depends, because there were times where we were really slow with it,
Yeah.
and then this year we were really
And we drink a lot
quickly on
of it, and then we'd have to refill. So,
Yeah, so
it's gone through a lot of changes, this bottle.
But that's why it's interesting. So, say, some people might have a bourbon blend, infinity blend,
Yeah.
and some people might, and then they might have a
Scotch
Scotch
blend.
infinity blend, or a non-smoky Scotch infinity blend, and then a smoky Scotch infinity blend, just to keep the flavors cohesive and things like that. That's a really good way of doing it as well.
So it's important to remember that anything dramatic can
Yeah.
take over this infinity blend really quickly. So if you have
Yeah.
a blend of Speysides and Highlands, for instance, and you decide to add some peat in there, that peat
Yes.
is gonna just skyrocket through.
Yeah, it's not equal to flavor. The flavor contribution is not equal to how many mils you put in. So it's I put in 30 mils of Ardbeg, and now it's too smoky. I'll put in 30 mils of Dimples. It's no, that Ardbeg's gonna stick around. You're gonna need more than 30 mils to get rid of that. So you got to be careful how you put it if you're being deliberate with what kind of flavor profile you want.
You can put 30 mils into this,
Yeah,
and it won't taste like Ardbeg.
but it'll
But you
have a
definitely-
strong contribution.
It would
of Ardbeg.
musk certain flavors and accentuate
Yeah.
the peat, and you would still taste probably a briny flavor, not
Yeah.
peat, but it would still throw off.
Yeah, so be
the
careful.
entire-
Definitely
Yeah.
be careful with Isla.
Yeah.
I've heard be careful with rye as well. That's pretty
Yeah, rye throws
dramatic, unique taste that can be pulled out really easily. So if you're gonna put it in there, start slow. There are other ways to do it. You can put lines on it. So every time you pour a couple ounces out into a glass, you pour another couple ounces into this.
Yep.
You can you do it that way. Or you
Ounces?
can never touch it. Ounces, I wasn't watching too much Whiskey Vault. So
We don't work in ounces.
shots, ounces. I do sometimes at the bar though. For some reason I've gotten better at ounces when I'm doing cocktails and stuff.
I don't even know what an ounce is.
It's 30 mils.
It's not a shot.
Shot. It's interchangeable. And so there are a few different ways to do it. There's a few different motivations to doing it. Be careful with Islas. Be careful with ryes.
Anything with extreme flavor profiles.
Yeah,
be
yeah.
careful of.
If you're really wanting cohesiveness, probably stick to regions and countries and stuff. If you're just wanting to do it in a really explorative, experimental way, do what we did and just throw everything in it. Because we've got Australian whiskey, Japanese whiskey, American whiskey, both bourbon and non-bourbon, Scotch of every region, Irish. I think that's it. Well, we've got 5 different countries there.
There's probably something else.
There's probably some random one up there that we don't even realise is
Canadian.
Oh yeah, Canadian. We've got a bit of Canadian. Only one Canadian though.
Yeah.
But yeah, so with the 6 different countries in here, so you gotta be careful if you actually want it to taste good. We've just thrown caution to the wind and just thrown everything in there because while we're reviewing, we're going through a lot of bottles. But this was started this was 3 years old. So you started this one 3 years ago.
I started this when I first got into whiskey.
Yeah.
Which was 3 years ago.
And a bottle we would recommend, which we are completely copying the same opinion as Whiskey Vault, but I genuinely believe the exact same thing. If you're going to start one, if you've got an empty Hibiki, the problem with a lot of not bottles but decanters, which is what kind of people like to use as their infinity blend bottles, is that they've got a glass seal. They're not airtight.
Yeah.
So they look really cool and elegant, but if you're doing long term wise, like you really run the risk of evaporation and air exposure and stuff like that. So it will change the flavor and you will end up with a lower ABV than you realize. This one looks like an old glass decanter, but it actually has a natural cork. So that's why we like it. A lot of people really go for the Hibiki bottle as their choice of a...
There is something I've got to say about this Infinity Blend. This in blend, for its first year, started in just a crystal decanter.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah.
A lot of things could have happened.
Yeah, but we added so much more whiskey to it
since
after
then.
the 2
but
years.
there could still be that
period.
weird layer in between.
Yeah, like it changes the flavour. Yeah,
so.
the ABV will still be well higher than 40%, I reckon, just because we've bought much.
Yeah, most of our whiskeys
most of mine are higher than 40, so I'm not worried about that. But yeah, the flavour drift and weird stuff's going on. It might taste a little weird.
Coming off, like what you should be using as a bottle, we've been using the Roku gin bottle. Which is from Suntory, so it's still in the same...
Yeah, it's made by the same people as that,
guys.
so that's why it kind of looks a little bit similar.
Yeah.
Screw top, not cork.
But screw top's better than glass because it's still airtight.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So.
But this one was just an easy one. We weren't really too...
And we like the bottle as well. Nice design.
So just nice and symmetrical. Well, symmetrical is kind of seemingly the most, the more popular option because it does look less like a bottle of something that you peel the label off and more like a decanter. I haven't tasted it in a little bit, neither of you. Last time we tasted it, we weren't too impressed, but we will taste it and do a little bit of a review on it. 100 different whiskies, 3 years later. We're tasting our blend. At least 100 different whiskies over the course of 3 years in one bottle, and in 2 glasses. Woohoo! What the f***?
It's like a musky peat.
I'm not getting as much peat as I thought I would, given how much we enjoy peat. Maybe we've just had, like, I don't know.
There is peat to some degree.
Some degree.
There is peat to some degree.
Yeah, but it's definitely not like the most forward,
maybe it's more
note.
briny than peat.
It's got a note of brininess. It's kind of like a...
But this is what we were saying before, like, there is peat in this, but there is more non-peated whiskies. But the peat just stands through and you can still smell it.
There's just so much weird stuff in here. It kind of smells like a Campbelltown. Like, I don't know. But with...
It smells like a weird Bakery Hill, Australian.
It kind of does smell like Bakery Hill. The bourbon's definitely on the back foot. Like, it's more predominantly Scotch.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure there are more Scotches in this.
Yeah.
Because we've only been into bourbon recently.
Yeah, probably the last 12 months.
It's got a really weird nose. I can't even, like, point out any notes.
There's definitely the Scotch malt funk.
Yeah, there's malt.
There's that maltiness. There's some weird, like, kind of citrusy, like lemon drops, like fruit fizzy kind of hard candy. I don't know how to describe it.
It's just weird. It's
weird,
odd.
like wood, but it's not like peat smoke wood. It's like you've burnt a wood and then kind of put it out with water and then smelt it. It's not as like hot. Like, I don't know. I feel like peat is more ashy.
Yeah,
this is not as ashy as I'd assume.
I really want to say
I'm just gonna taste it. It's not pleasant.
What is that?
Ooh. What's it doing?
Yuck.
Strange.
It's flat, but it lasts.
I reckon
don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, I don't know about flat. It's more like I reckon it's spiky. Like it It
It's
dances
not
around. It's not like low alcohol content, like it's spiky. But it's not like a rich flavored, but it also really sticks around. The aftertaste is like chemicals.
Yeah.
Like it's not like ethanol burn, it is like
chemical. It's like burning plastic.
It's like you've burnt plastic and breathed it in. It's
not
more...
that we do that. I don't know what that actually tastes like.
I don't know what that's like.
It's what I imagine burning plastic would taste like.
It's so bright. For something so full of... Jeez. For something so full of like expensive single malts and stuff like that, it tastes like a grain whiskey. It tastes like a bright column still grain whiskey. It doesn't...
For me, it's flat. I don't know what it is about it. Like, there's no variance in anything. You sip it and it's just like this weird... It's just weird flat.
But I feel like it's sticking around for ages, but just bad notes. The sweetness doesn't stick around. I'm getting like just phenolic, chemically band-aidy notes, but not in like we seriously love Ardbeg, Lafroy, Lagavulin, Octomore, stuff like that. Stuff, yeah. Anything from Brooklighting. We love the like punch in the face of peat and brine and, you know, hospital band-aid notes. Like, it's not that we're like, oh, that's, you know, it's just too much for us. This just tastes, it doesn't taste like notes. It tastes like someone's poured a little bit of disinfectant in here. It tastes like someone's added lemon pledge to this bottle.
But I mean, that is literally just because there's so many whiskies in there.
Maybe it's just it's too disjointed to be anything consistent. Alrighty, thank you for watching this episode of Everything Whiskey. If you liked it, leave us a like. If you want to see future episodes from us, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button. If you do, we will see you in the next one. Cheers.
I don't really want to have it, that was it.